And Rich Trapper tapping in, TNN Trap News Network. You feel me?
Rich Trapper.
The homie wanted you to whitelist this shit too.
Who?
Rich Trapper.
Rich Trapper?
He be reacting to your shit.
Studio, Rich Trapper tapping in, TNN Trap News Network, back in the same, like cracking the same. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe for more of this good content we got going on here at TNN Trap News Network. Good news you can use, good knowledge though. You can't get nobody's college though, big dog. Make sure you tap in with the tap in when you are tapping all the way inward. Make sure you tap all the way in, tap in with the tap in, man. Get into that. You ain't got into that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, become part of this Rich Trapper Mafia, that notification bell at the top. It all say tapped in for the latest and the greatest of what we got going on here at TNN Trap News Network. If I'm looking a little disheveled right now, it's because I have just completed 6 15-minute rounds of rolling in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Going for my blue belt, y'all. I'm going for my blue belt. Hey, we all got to start somewhere, man. I got some stripes on my white belt, though. But the Muay Thai and the boxing and the Krav Maga, oh, yeah, we got that already. But I need to go ahead and get this Jiu-Jitsu all the way in under my belt, man. So we did this good. I'm beat. Anyway, make sure you hit that subscribe button, become part of the Rich Trapper Mafia, that notification bell at the top. It all say tapped in for the latest and the greatest of what we got going on here at TNN Trap News Network. News you can use, knowledge though. You can't get in nobody's college though. Make sure you tap in with that if you have not tapped all the way in with that. And I need y'all to make sure you hit that description button and follow the new page, Pagington. If you have not, man, a new page is going up. When we get to 5,000 subscribers, we will be giving away $100. So make sure you tap in with the tap in. Get into that if you ain't got into that. We finna jump into this good content, man. We got Tunchi 5 from R100 saying that it ain't no peace treaty with the Hoovers. For those of y'all who don't know, the gangs in LA came together, the OGs came together, from the Avalons to the 60s to the 40s to the 90s to the Hoovers to the A-Trays. You know what I'm saying? Some 4 Trays was in there, blah, 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 X, Y, and Z. The Crips, the who's of the OGs of the Crip community came together and they have called a ceasefire. And I think that that's a very beautiful thing when they can put those differences together and all that. You know, excuse me, the Crip card and the Hoover card, because Hoovers ain't Bloods or Crips. Well, depending on what you're talking about. But I digress. But, you know, shout out to the Hoovers too. But they all came together to put their differences aside for a ceasefire. They're not saying, from my understanding, it's not saying that, hey, we're going to come over here and hang out with each other. We're just going to allow our children to coexist in a peaceful environment as they should be able to coexist, because this decade-long war may have gotten a little bit out of control. So I definitely appreciate and can respect that. However, apparently, Tunchi 5 from R100 says, I don't agree with that. So we got my man, 2 Games for YouTube. We finna jump into his content and see what he's talking about. Let's get into it. Let's go.
What it do, YouTube? What it do? This whole peace treaty has become the talk on these YouTube streets. Everybody and their mama is talking about it. That lets you know that this is bigger than all of us. I seen what Compton Rick Rock had to say. Basically, he's saying forget those that ain't with the peace. Let's focus on those that are for peace. Now that's a good perspective. I like that. Every good thing in life is gonna have something bad attached to it. There's always gonna be bad apples to everything in life. To those that's leading the peace treaty, don't feel discouraged. Keep fighting the good fight. Don't lose faith. I knew this wasn't gonna be an easy task, but I truly believe in the end that peace will prevail. I watched my boy Young and Hefe. R.I.P. to my boy Little Sodi.
Shout out to Young and Hefe,
because he was definitely rocking with my channel when he was still alive. Monster Cody and Little Sodi would definitely be proud of you. Young Ant said that in order for this peace treaty to work out, that we're gonna have to DP everybody that's not on board. A whole bunch of young...
Hey, that could be a thing. However, all they're gonna do is branch off and make their own gang. That's not with peace. And then all those guys who got... I promise you, bro, I'm giving a precursor. I can see it. I like the idea. I'm not at all saying Young and Hefe don't care about nothing but what the checks say. I like Young and Hefe. I think that he's making a valid point. However, what that is going to result in, my opinion, like an a-hole, we all have one, those guys are then going to at first be divided against. Some will change. Some will say, you know what, I was wrong, and then they'll go. But you're going to have those knuckleheads who have knuckles for heads. You feel me? You got those knuckleheads who are not going to give a flaming fudgington. They're not. They're going to continue to go against the program, and they're going to go against the program, and on a long enough calendar, it's been proven. Every gang that goes against the program or every group of gang members that grow against the program on a long enough calendar become their own gang. So all it's going to do is create peace here, but another tension elsewhere. Unless, and then that'll stop it. But I'm not advocating at all for, because that's far. We don't want anybody to get. But there has to be a way. It's not like I hate the thought process of, well, it's just like that. It ain't nothing I can do. No, there's always something you can do. There's always something you can do. There's always a way to think your way out of a bad situation. The power of thought and common sense and intelligence is a mother chucker. There's always a way to use your brain to get the, the wooty bam, the 1-2 step like Sierra that you are hoping to, get into. But I wonder how this one will work. It's interesting. It's going to have to be dealt with very, very aggressively delicate. Because it has to be delicate, but the delicacy has to have some aggression in it. It's a very aggressively delicate situation. Two things can be true at once. But let's keep going. Shout out to Young and Hefe, though. Shout out to Young and Hefe. Don't care about nothing what the check say. Make sure y'all show bro some love, like, comment, subscribe to his page.
Sisters expressed their hatred towards this whole thing. They came on social media to voice their opinion about it. Compton, Rick Rock, and Young Ant's strategy are totally different. Which strategy do you think was best? Do you think a DP is mandatory to get everyone on board? Or do you think they should exclude the bad apples and just focus on the good ones? That was basically what Compton Rick Rock was saying.
Like I said, you don't have everybody that's on board, but like I said, we gotta penalize those that's not on board, bro. You feel me? We gotta take up hands and guard against them, bro, whether they are own, because they showing us that they not our own to continue to promote genocide amongst our people.
This peace treaty ain't gonna happen overnight. There's levels to this. It's normal to see youngsters that's against it, because right now they're only at the beginning stage. They barely had their first meeting just last week, and I'm speaking to those that's down talking this whole peace treaty. They expect miracles to be done overnight. Give them some time. It's gonna happen, but we just gotta let these guys work and do their thing. Last night, Tunchi 5 said this. He's a young reputable from Rolling 100s. He said, I'm not bigger than a program, but ain't no peace because my people's died for this. So it's gonna be forever up with him. Now, to my knowledge, I heard recently that a few of their peoples passed away. First of all, let me say this. RIP to those fallen soldiers. But what you gotta understand is this. They lost just as many men as you guys lost. Nobody's a winner when it comes to war. Every war has its...
My bad. I don't think that with this decade-long war, at this point, it's just a ping-pong match. There is no side that's winner. Let me do it like this. The North clearly beat the South. That happened. You feel me? That happened. Or maybe it didn't happen. I don't want to get into the history buff and conspiracy, but as far as the book's concerned, that happened. World War II, whatever, with the Allies, I think that's what they was called, they won. That happened. You feel me? That happened. You know what I'm saying? This is more of a ping pong back and forth. Excuse me, my history is wrong. Y'all get the point that I'm trying to make, though, but I don't think it is. But excuse me if it is. I'm not here to make history points, but you get the point that I'm trying to make. This is a back and forth. This is a back and forth. Right here, what we have is a back and forthington. You feel me? So it's interesting. It's a very interesting situation. And again, it has to be dealt with aggressively delicate, very delicate, but also very aggressively, because it's a lot of logic and illogic, emotions and feelings. All these things are very valid in this discussion, because you might knock down one of mine. I might not feel like making peace with one of yours. But at the same time, the older gentlemen who can see the forest beyond the trees are like, well, we all know what it's like to have somebody knocked down. They know what it's like to have somebody knocked down. So nobody's wrong. Nobody's right. Nobody's feelings are valid. Nobody's feelings are invalid. We're kind of all on the same thing, because what's happened on one side has clearly happened on the other side. So it's happened on both sides. It's just a matter of who's willing to, I guess, maybe at this point, tuck the ego for the betterment of the community. Because I think that's the best way to say it. I don't know. It's a wobbly, drop it like it's hot for sure. It's for sure a wobbly, drop it like it's hot.
They lost many men and are still willing to come to the table. How much bodies is enough for you?
How many bodies? Don't worry about it. 2 gangster for YouTube. Words hard.
How many graves do you gotta see before you're satisfied? Tunchi5 says something that really stood out to me. He said pain and hatred does not go away just because a few OGs see the bigger picture. And what he's saying is true. But let me say this. Yesterday, Razzie Bugatti got sentenced to 78 years. This kid is still young. Do you want to spend your whole life?
No matter what age you are, nigga, 78 years is 78 years. Even if you get sentenced to that at birth, that's still your whole life. Goodness gracious. Sorry, I didn't mean to go to Banky Pound. Shout out to Banky Pound though. That's wild.
Reputable from said pain subscribe to. Razzie Bugatti got sentenced to 78 years. This kid is still young. Do you want to spend your whole life in prison? But you guys, let me know what you got.
All right, man. Shout out to my man 2 Games for YouTube, man. We finna get up out here to the next one. I'm gonna say this. I understand all sides. Personally, I am a promoter of peace over everything. Words over whoopties. Words over whoopties. Personally, I have not been doing the best of showing that lately, but I do apologize. But back to the original point of when I came into this YouTube space, words over whoopties. Words over whoopties. But sometimes it's whoopties over words. And that's understandably because we are all human. And people are like, oh, that's because you're in your feelings. That's because you're in your emotion. It is okay to have feelings and have emotions. We are human. It's what you do with those feelings and what you do with those emotions that define you as a man or a woman. But this whole concept of, well, you and your feelings, you and your feelings, you and your feelings. Let's eliminate that, black men. Let's eliminate that. Because if somebody can have a conversation humbly about feelings and understanding, maybe, just maybe, kids, I don't even say kids because he's a young man. Young men like Tunchi5 and the other young men who feel like, no, we're not making no peace, maybe that would be a better way to get to them rather than, well, if you don't do it, I'm gonna DP you, because they're not gonna just take the DP, bro. If they're bold enough to see you making peace and saying, so what, I'm gonna still keep doing this, a DP is not gonna change that attitude. You feel me? He's already made up his mind. So maybe somebody who understands how he feels should give him the courtesy of a conversation. Because how he feels was valid when he was putting in work for the set to become whoever he was, or to become whoever he is, to be that young reputable name. And that goes for every neighborhood who has one of those young men or a group of those young men who feel like, no, I'm not doing it. Because again, for them to feel like, no, they're not doing it, means that they have done something for that neighborhood to where they feel like they're warranted those feelings and they're warranted in those values and those statements. You know what I'm saying? And if it was respected when they was putting in work, it should be respected right now when it comes to things that definitely affect what they got going on for the work that they have put in. Maybe a conversation where feelings are understood and respected could help this situation. Instead of looking at it like, oh, you just emotional. We ain't finna get into you and your feelings. I'm just saying, perspective. Not saying I'm right, not saying I'm wrong. Apply this to how you gotta apply it. Red dots to the left, you know the rest, man. It's free. Avenue Angel T, it's free. We gone.